Hello from the test kitchen. This is Janie and Scott. We're still on break, but we want to make sure that we helped you end the year right.
And this week on WTF, we're going to show you the 10 biggest recipes from WTF.
You can get all of them in the links in the description below, and we cannot wait to share with you what we have in store coming up. Happy New Year!
And starting off the top 10 at number 10 is our no-knead bread. This recipe is amazing because it only takes 15 minutes of prep, and then you're going to have a great loaf of bread. You can take flour, and generally with breads you got to mix them up with a dough hook for, sometimes 30 minutes depending on the type of bread you're making to really kind of elongate those gluten strands. But with no-knead bread, you add in the moisture, you mix it up with a spatula, and it's going to look really rough. It's going to look, dry patches, wet patches, but you take it, you cover it, and you set it on the counter, and after about 18 hours, that gluten is going to pull in that moisture, and it's going to elongate on its own. So there's two ways to kind of grow gluten strands or strengthen gluten strands, and it's a lot of mixing or a lot of time. With the no-knead bread, we just give it a lot of time, and after the no-knead bread has reached about 18 hours, you can literally take it, form it into a loaf, proof it once more, and then bake it. Okay. So it's really cool is that it doesn't take a lot of work. You don't need a mixer at home, but you do need yeast.
Coming in at number 9 is our plant-based sausages. This recipe was so good, no one here at the office knew that it was plant-based.
So I'm going to take that meat, just as if you ground your own meat, right, if you were making sausage, and then I'm going to add my spices. In here, this is a spice mixture for a hot Italian sausage, so there's some chili flake, some paprika, salt, black pepper, fennel, all those things that you would find in a sausage. And I'm just going to mix that up briefly, just enough to incorporate it.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to dip this into the sodium alginate, and it's going to coat the outside. And then I'm going to put it into this liquid here, which is just water and calcium chloride. And when it goes into that, it's going to create an instant gel on the outside. So it's going to mimic the skin of a sausage. Yeah. And so this right here, the one that we're cooking up, the one that you just tasted, and you can see this really beautiful golden brown that it turns. And if you even turn this up just a little bit more, that broccoli rabe gives a nice little bitterness, the garlic that's in there, right? A little bit of salt, a little bit of fennel seeds, so really nice flavor combinations. So I'm going to just slice this in half. And as you can see, if I prop this up, we can get the nice, beautiful juices that come out of it, right? And that's the fat and the juice from the recipe itself. Yeah. I'm very happy with this recipe, and I think everyone should try it.
Yeah.
And at number 8 is our gluten-free keto tempura batter. We used our fava bean protein to make an amazing tempura batter for everyone. Let's mix this up really well. It takes about 20 seconds for it to start to hydrate.
And this will kind of work for all types of things, like I know some people say like, I want to fry, fish, but it's kind of wet. Will this work with all types of
This works with everything, batter? Yep. So if you do 2 or 3 portions out of this batter, you can end up with as low as 2 to 3 net carbs, which is great because fried food is not something that you generally get when you're doing a keto diet or anything like that, right? So. And I know you don't like pickles, so I made you something else.
Sweet.
I made you a Frito miso. We have asparagus, we have some red bell peppers, we have some mushrooms, so things with super high moisture content. You can see how wonderfully crispy these are, right?
And it really has that kind of tempura with the little bits and stuff on it, which I love.
Yes. Yep. So the more, kind of cracks and crevices that oil can get into, the crispier it's going to be. And that's what we ended up here with this recipe, right?
Yeah. Taking up the number 7 spot is our salt and malt vinegar powder dusting, which, if you understand it, it's really just an excuse to eat more French fries. Enjoy.
But right now I'm going to get into making the French fries. Okay. And they are just so unbelievably crispy. But the cool thing that we're doing to them is that we're actually adding the malt vinegar powder to some salt a little bit of malic acid, a little bit of black pepper. So we're making salt and vinegar chips out of French fries, or chips, depending on where you are. So, so I'm going to take these, get those in. Great, so these are getting pretty close.
Yay.
They're looking really beautiful, golden brown. So I'm going to take these out, just going to pop them in, and then we're going to be able to get our salt and vinegar powder onto them. And
you know, the friends that we were with said, they're like, oh, I love putting malt vinegar on my chips, but then they make them soggy. Exactly. And I just want to be like, but there's malt vinegar powder.
So I'm just going to sprinkle on some of my malt vinegar powder. I'm going to toss them. Now these French fries, they don't necessarily need ketchup. They're delicious as they are. So we have a very simple but delicious way to have a sandwich and French fries using our vinegar powder, which if you wanted to eat one of these, you can, Janie, but they're going to be...
I'm going to burn my mouth.
Do it for the views.
I will.
At number 6, we throw away the edible water bottles and bring in the edible cocktail glasses with our classic cocktail pods. So I'm going to pop in one. It's very simple. These just wear right in my normal freezer. If you don't want a 1 ounce size and you want like a ½ ounce, you can use our molds that we have at modernistpantry.com. Sometimes it'll float to the top just because it does have alcohol in it. So I like to just baste a little bit. So this cocktail is an Empress Gin cocktail, which is like a blue gin. It's fortified with different spices, so it has a really intense, beautiful flavor, and it is an amazing color. We're going to add in our ginger simple syrup. So it's basically simple syrup, and you just simmer it with some ginger. And you add in this lemon juice, and you mix it up.
Ooh,
now you have like a beautiful kind of lavender color. So let's take out our pod now. Very simple. We have our Empress Gin cocktail. You can see the color's just slightly lighter. That's from the dilution, but it's still a beautiful color, right? So if I were to take this pod, I could place it back directly into this cocktail. You don't want to hold this in water. You want to hold it in the flavorful liquid that it is made from.
All right. I really love all the color and presentation in all these. They're so unusual. And it's hard to believe that you can pick it up with your hands, but we actually did it last time. I'm not going to try to like...
I'll pick this one up.
All right. I'm going to eat this one off the spoon. And we are at the halfway mark with number 5, our snow globe cupcakes. What a fun and unique way to make a dessert new and exciting for your friends, families, kids, everybody.
And our last one is kind of a callback to one of our first videos we ever put up, and it's actually a recipe that we borrowed from Elizabeth at Sugar Hero, and she made these great snow globe cupcakes using gelatin. And the one, as you can see on your left, is made with a titanium. So you can see it's very yellow and it's almost cloudy looking through. Not that titanium is bad or anything, it's just not great for this application. So you want to be able to see on the inside. I made a little snowman in there. You can get little figurines, you can do all sorts of stuff.
And do you just want to quickly touch upon like the technique to doing this?
You blow up like a little water balloon. You don't want a bigger balloon than that. So you basically bloom the gelatin, mix it in with some sugar, heat it up, and then you roll the balloon in it, you let it dry for a few minutes, you roll it in it again. So it's actually like coated 3 times. And then the next day, you're able to poke a little hole in the balloon and then gently pull it away from the insides, and boom, you have basically a shell. It is edible, but I would not suggest eating the entire thing in one bite. You have to break off little pieces, but it looks great on a cupcake. At the number 4 spot is our Sour Patch Bears. This is a great way to customize a childhood classic to your adult taste buds. We love sweet treats, just like Janie said. So I made Sour Patch Bears. We had to purchase a few little bear molds, and it was pretty difficult to devise how to make the Sour Patch Kid texture. But we think we were able to do it, and we added citric acid inside the bears themselves.
Okay.
And then a little bit of tartaric on the outside for that initial kind of like pinch of acidity.
Okay.
So you want to try one of the blue ones. Those are my favorite, blueberry.
Right. So
and we use our flavor drops in them as well.
Okay. So the outside is a combination of the tartaric and sugar?
And sugar, yes.
That's good.
And it doesn't stick to your teeth too much, right?
Nope, not at all.
See, she's able to talk, so that's a good thing. But you can take any one of our flavor drops and then make whatever flavor you wanted out of it. So you don't have to be stuck to the lemon, orange, cherry, blue raspberry that you're normally getting, you can make all sorts of different ones.
Sliding into number 3 is our plant-based burger, our cult favorite recipe that many people say is even better than the big brands.
So this recipe makes 1 pound. You can see how easy it was for me to lift that and patty it up so it looks like a nice burger. I'm just gonna coat the bottom of the pan and place it down and just give it a press so it has like even distribution. So
And it really just tastes better because we have like taste tested against like all the other burgers out there, and ours just like, it just has like a real meatiness and juiciness. I think as part of that is, I think it must have to do with the fat content, because like it really like has such a nice feel when you eat it.
But I just want to show you, if I pull this up right now, you can see just how juicy it is. I can give it a squeeze. You can see that fat and juice coming out of it, right? It is very hot, I'll let you know. But the juiciness of it, it has that chew, that texture that you look for in a burger, and it holds up. And at the coveted number 2 spot is the foodie favorite nacho cheese. Now this nacho cheese is really reminiscent of all those nacho cheeses you had as a kid, and I mean that in the best way. We actually have a nacho cheese recipe that we've developed that has a little bit of roasted jalapeno in it, and it gives you that really nacho cheese flavor without all the plasticky kind of textures that you would get. This one is formulated so that it stays kind of liquidy throughout, so even if it gets a little bit cool, you still get that nacho texture. We can show you that I heated this up maybe about 10 minutes ago. You could still get that nice, beautiful nacho cheese right over.
And that looks super delicious.
Yes.
And can we go over really quickly a little bit about what sodium citrate is and what's it doing with the cheese that makes it special?
Yeah, so sodium citrate, it's very easy. It's just the salt from citrus foods. And you add a little bit in and it helps that protein and that fat combine. So you know when you melt regular cheddar cheese, it'll be this clump of melted cheese and then oil, like a slick that comes off. Well, this helps it melt evenly and it doesn't break like it normally would. So you get that beautiful cheese that you can pour over your nachos.
Right. So it's like Velveeta, but with quality cheese.
Yes,
of your
exactly.
choosing. Cool. That looks delicious. So definitely, I love nachos. So I can't wait to eat one.
And finally, the top recipe on WTF is our perfect vegan flan. Also, coincidentally, one of Scott's very first recipes here at Modernist Pantry.
Vegan flan. So a lot of the recipes I see online use cornstarch to make vegan flan.
Or agar, right?
Yeah, or agar, yeah, exactly. And agar can give a really off-putting texture. It's a bit too chewy, it's a bit too brittle.
Yep.
With our vegan gelatin, which we use in this flan, it's a proprietary blend. I've found that this has a really almost creamy texture too, so did a little playing around with it, and I was able to make a beautiful vegan flan recipe.
Yeah.
So I put it into a mason jar. It's just really easy for storing. You can put it into whatever container you want, and I just simply go around the outside, and you can see it's already starting to pull apart. The best thing you want to do here is not try and flop it out, but invert, flip it over. Sometimes I have to get in there with my spatula again, make a little air bubble. There we go.
Perfect.
Yes.
So we're just gonna like live scoop it here so that you can kind of see how it separates.
Yes, and the best part about this is you're never going to get that flan that gets overcooked and gets gritty. So you're always going to have that nice, beautiful, creamy
so
flan.
look how nice that is. It just separates with an agar or like some other gelling agent. It's just gonna all fall apart.
Yep. So it's creamy, custardy, just like a traditional flan would be.
So good. It is so good.
Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell so you get notified when we drop a new video.
To get today's recipes and all of our recipes, remember to go to blog.modernistpantry.com, where you get recipes, ask a chefs, tips and tricks, and more.
And if you haven't already, tell a friend so they know what's going on here at WTF.
And as always, to get any of the ingredients you saw today, you can go to modernistpantry.com to shop.
And until next time, we'll be here in the test kitchen helping you create memorable and magical experiences.